Ooh. Family, family. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the first day of the week, the start of your week. Whew, Lord, I am just winding down for the day. Guys, I've been thinking about this all day. And actually, I've been thinking about it for a few days, actually. And um, and y'all know last week I was just ranting, but in a good way, right? And what I mean by that is just saying, it's some things that we need to do. It's some things that we need to know. There are some things that we need to prepare for, guys. And it's so funny um, how I started talking about a lot of these. God started revealing a lot of these things to me um, last year sometime. And man, I tell you, just to see a lot of these things unfold, it's just been amazing. It's been more than amazing. And so I'm just again being obedient. I said, and I love to be a person of I am a woman of my word. And I said I was going to get on here and just share some things that I think that are really, really, really important. And so I'm learning to become comfortable being uncomfortable. So God said, get comfortable being uncomfortable. My people needs to know. They need to know some things. We need to be sharing what we know. And so let me just say this. Let me just say that there are a lot of you that are really hearing some things from God. And He is waking up His people. He is sounding the alarm. The awakening is happening. I'm so excited to see a lot of young people who are, they're not afraid. They're not afraid to step out there and jump out there and say what thus said the Lord to them. What thus said the Lord, right? And they're operating in their prophetic anointing. Some were born to be prophets. Some have the gift of prophecy. And there is a difference. But I mean, our destination and our goals that we are trying to accomplish are pretty much the same. But yeah, guys. Hey, Miss Vicky. Yeah, girl, it's time. It's time for us to wake up. Look, girl, I'm gonna get creative with this stuff. I'm not really good at this social media stuff, but I really would love to share this video that Miss Vicky actually just shared with me. And last year God had revealed to me about all I knew was He just said start preparing. I'm like, preparing for what? Prepare. And then I started sharing it with my friends because the word just got stronger. And we started working on our preparedness list, emergency preparedness. Actually, me and a girlfriend went live to talk about it because it was so strong in my spirit. And more we're learning that, honey, the higher ups are set. They got bunkers with swimming pools, and I mean, they looking like they on the island somewhere. They got rock climbing. They got beautiful apartments. They got beautifully furnished bunkers. They got doors that are being guarded right now by by servicemen. No kind of bomb can blow up that particular space. They got rows and rows of food where they have stashed for years. And you guys, y'all may be hearing this, but you may not be paying attention. This stuff is serious. It is serious. And a little bit of stuff I've already put up and have gone and got. We need some more stuff. We need some more stuff, right, Miss Vicky? So Vicky was like, shoot, we need to keep preparing. I was like, yeah, girl. So we are in that process, guys. If y'all don't know, There are a lot of things that you can do. A lot of you guys are already farming, a lot, that know how to plant and grow your own food. Y'all know I don't know a thing about that. I'm trying to find something now that I can grow food inside my house, on the inside. I don't like all that outdoorsy stuff, but there's something for everybody, right? Yeah. So it's time. It's past time to prepare. One of my other girls, one of my other prophet friends, she started. They started back in 2018 when God revealed it to her. But yeah, so Pastor Stephen Darby has a video on emergency preparedness. Y'all can Google his, Google not Google him, find him on YouTube, and his whole video on emergency preparedness and telling you things that you can go buy, things that you can do, seeds that you can go buy. I remember watching on one of those channels, like a history channel, where they have really this whole system where they created all these different seeds. So just in case, the seeds will be a commodity. You know what I'm saying? And so that they're growing this stuff, and they literally said, "Now, guys, I'm telling you something that I heard with my own ears, and not saying anything that somebody else told me." And they saying that they, just in case, not talking about just in case, or when the earth is destroyed, and when they have to start all over again, they will have the seeds that is needed to be able to plant and be able to prepare, to be able to grow everything all over again. I'm like, these people are they are, what I tell you, Miss Vicky, I said they first of all, they don't took all our money, government money, to build all these luxurious places to stay, and let me look. What I say to Miss Vicky? I gotta see, because I typed it, texted to her. I said that they knew this stuff was and is going to happen. First, the word of God has already, notified us, and we don't want to believe that, but the word is true. Y'all know. And then, of course, they plan for it. They plan to do a lot of this crap. And so anyway, that's not why I decided to get on live tonight, because I told you guys, there are some things that are happening that we need to be made aware of. And so the one way that we can find out is just to ask God. Ask him so he can reveal to us what is going on. And so what I put in here, I think my title is what my title is. I said my title is, let me look, I'm looking. You are a spirit, right? So then the fight you are in is spiritual. When I tell you, let me tell y'all something. Honey, God has caused me to become a warrior in this area. When I tell you, I've learned about just different spirits, different demons, and guys, y'all got to know that they all different. So we love to wrap all of these wicked spirits, unclean spirits, demons, all those things, the devil, all of these are separate. We like to wrap them up in one. We like to wrap them all, even though they do work for Satan. We like to wrap them all up in one person doing something to us. No, all of these different dark owned spirits have different assignments. All right, and so I'm just going to share one with you guys that was revealed to me, and that we don't even realize that is happening. Or if you don't have the gift of discernment or perceiving or perception, you might not readily or right away know what is going on, or might not even recognize that a spirit is doing all of this mess that you're in, and you're thinking these things, you're feeling this way, you're sick this way, and you just think it's just something that is happening. No, it's something making it happen. And there's one spirit that I'm going to tell you guys about tonight. And the study that I did on it was when I found out that this spirit is the one that's mentioned the most. Well, I won't say the most, but maybe. but throughout the Bible. And we're talking about this unclean spirit. And when I understood, when I learned, man, when I found out about this doggone unclean spirit, y'all, this is gonna blow your mind. So I'm just gonna do a recap, and then after that, I'm gonna put the link under here where I found a teaching on it. All right, blew my mind, changed my whole outlook on everything. And then that makes me understand even more why my life has been the way that it is, and why now I can say I see why God has. I've really been in for 30 something years, and God's saying that this project is over. And I feel like I came out, really feel like I came out on top. But I feel like a weight was off, like I'm through fighting. So when you come out of a fight, and when you realize that, man, you've been in boot camp. It was a long boot camp, but in that time, I've learned how to recognize these wicked spirits. I didn't even, yeah. So I've learned to recognize them. I know when they're around. I know what they look like. I know how they move. I know how they sound. I know how they smell, and I know how they attack. And so what I did was learn how to become a warrior in that place. And most of the time when I tell people, I say, a lot of women, I'm just going to say, because I'm a woman and because I'm talking about me, I have a high pain tolerance. And so even though I'm in pain, most people don't know it. Most people didn't know it. They didn't see it. They didn't see me, oh, woe is me. They didn't see me talking about anybody or carrying on and this hurt and this happened to me. God, I depended on God to get me through that process, to walk me through it, and to teach me how to fight. And I'm not saying that, of course, we can't beat no spirit, but I learned how to fight in the spirit. Right? And so let me just tell you guys about this little unclean spirit, right? And it is ugly, right? So, but that's when we know that we really, truly, guys, if you say that you love and you trust God, you have to really be a man or a woman that really love and trust God. Okay? And because he's the one that's going to take care of you, that's got your back, your front, your side, that's going to show you how to do, when to do, and whatever, and learning how to operate and how to maneuver in this battle. So again, so what I said, is what I did say is this fight that you're in, or what's attacking you, it is a spiritual thing. You're a spirit, right? Right. And so, guys, y'all just got to know this is a shell. This body that we're in is just a shell. It will get beat up, bruised. I'm a witness. Things that happen to your body. You don't even know what hit you a lot of times. And so that's why you need to go to God and be like, okay, open up my eyes. Open up my spiritual eyes. Stop looking at everything from a natural standpoint, and just know that when it shows up in the physical, it was already happening in the spiritual. So we need to learn how to get there. So I'm just going to recap real quick about this unclean spirit. All right. So our biggest battle is against this unclean spirit. Y'all think y'all battling your spouses, your sister, your brother, your neighbor, your coworker, your supervisor, or whoever, yourself. It's not even that. It's not even them. It's not even you battling yourself. You're battling an unclean spirit. All right. So it's not for this particular spirit that is very sneaky, and you don't even, it shows up undetected if you don't know. If you don't know to look for an evil spirit, or this unclean spirit, or have the discernment to sense it. And guys, some of you guys have maybe been sensing it, but you didn't know what it was, because again, I have experienced it. I say things, I've seen things, and didn't necessarily know what it was called, but I will call it an evil spirit. Oh no, that's a spirit right there. That's a spirit that's making you do that. That's a spirit that's making you say that. That's a spirit that's making you feel like that. That's a spirit that's making you sick. So let me just keep it moving. So it's not enough to pray. I'm reading my notes, guys, and to seek the Lord for this unclean spirit. It's your lifestyle. It determines if an unclean spirit will be present or not. So think about the way that you're living, because let me tell you, when that thing shows up, when that unclean spirit shows up, it opens up the doors for other spirits to come in. So other evil spirits don't even have the authority to come in or the power to be able to come and operate in your life, unless there's unclean spirit who's influencing you. All right, this unclean spirit will influence you to think negative about yourself, to think negative about anybody else. I'm getting ahead of myself, but let me just tell you, its primary duty is to defile you. All right, the unclean spirit's primary duty is to defile you. All right, and once you are defiled, unless God cleanses you, that old crate that thinking I was just telling you about, the way that it'll influence you to think crazy thoughts. I'm going to tell you some of those crazy, ridiculous thoughts that the unclean spirit will have you thinking and will have you doing. All right. So, but unless God cleanses you, that way of thinking and doing will not depart from you. You can't bind it up. You can't rebuke it, because that is one that cannot enter into your body. That is not one that possesses you, so to speak. So this is one that's in your environment, guys. It's around you, and it causes you and influences you to think negative thoughts and to do negative things. And the one thing that the main thing that you have to do, the only thing that you can do with that spirit is resist it. And so the word tells us, resist the devil and he will flee, right? So that's that spirit that's working on the devil's behalf, that unclean spirit, right? And so we already know that God is not only coming back for a sinless church, but he said he's coming back for a pure and a spotless church. And so when we're talking about unclean spirit, if we're saying that unclean spirit that defiles, that means it's dirty. And it dirties you up. Well, I don't know if that's a word, but it is tonight. Okay. And so God is coming back for, a pure and spotless church. So many people have become defiled, right? And guys, you don't even know that's the thing that's holding you back. You can be in church still raising your hands. Let me tell you, speaking in tongues, jumping up and down. You could be serving on, as a hostess or a deacon or even a pastor, a minister, a praise singer, a praise dancer, whatever you're doing. And then you're still wondering why these crazy things are still happening in your life. It's because of this unclean spirit. And a lot of times because of the fact that we don't know that's what it is. So that is the main reason why I'm here to tell you this. That if you still got a whole lot of foolishness going on around you, and I've been praying, and God, and I'm fasting, and God, and I'm believing God, and I'm trusting Him, and every time I turn around, it's always something. Look, it's that freaking unclean spirit that's still getting you to think crazy, to think doubtful, to have low self-esteem, to think that you're not good enough. I don't care how high you get in emotions when somebody is, when you're in a church service, because guess what? They have to create this atmosphere for you guys to be in. And if it's all about emotions, that's what you're going to get. That's all you're going to get. And so when that emotion goes home, and when you step outside that door and you get in that car, that unclean spirit still is going to be sitting right there waiting on you. You're like, girl, you ain't mean none of that. You didn't really, get your, you didn't get you didn't really receive that healing. That laying on the hands didn't do nothing for you. You know that you can't blah, 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 blah. You know that they really don't love you or care nothing about you. All that craziness. All right. And then we fall for it. I've seen it. I've seen it on too many people in my life, right? And that's why I found out so many people were fighting me when I'm saying that stop giving in to those types of thoughts, and let's operate and move in the power and the authority that God has given us. Yeah. We have to learn and grow. Our pastor told us that today. We have to learn and grow to be able to lead in this area. So you learn about this. That's a sign of maturity, when you get in there and you learn and you grow. All right. So, but anyway, when some people are delivered and these demons leave them, and a few months later they have manifested again, that is because their unclean lifestyle never left. It may have died down a little bit, because you never really went and got cleansed. You never really got delivered. All right. Um, so these unclean spirits can come back, and y'all know what happens. That nasty rascal goes and gets 7 of his crazy friends. Once it cleans your house, it can clean. You can clean up your house real good. That little spirit knows if you never really, when I say clean up, you didn't really go and get cleansed, like pray and get delivered. You just decided that you know what, I got this. I can say no, and that's what we're supposed to do, But for some reason, you still don't get with some folk that that are really, when I say people of God, that that are operating. You see their fruit. They have the gift of laying on of hands, and let them call that thing out of you from around you, because I'm telling you, the unclean spirit has brought other spirits along with it. So an evil spirit has no power again to come back unless an unclean spirit opens the door. That's why I tell you, this rascal is sneaky. He is the one that comes undetected, if you don't know. So again, an unclean spirit, you have to resist them, not just rebuke or bind them up. So to give an example, this young man gave an example. He was talking about Adam and Eve. They were not demon possessed when they sinned and fell, were they? That doggone enemy, the snake, or whatever you want to call him, the devil, was there with them. And what he do? He defiled them. And that's when their life spirals out of control. And so now that's why the rest of us are born into sin. And we have to be born again in order to begin to, get in our divine right, or get in our divine position, or get in the position to receive all the blessings and, the kingdom blessings from God. All right. So when an unclean spirit has left a man, the house is put in order, made clean, right? We just talked about this. That spirit will go out and get 7 spirits worse than itself, and come back and make the conditions of a man worse. All right? And so when he does that, the unclean spirits, they don't line, or they don't live in you. They come in and out of your life. So you're wondering, why you're always continuously attracted to the same person or the same types of situations, or if you find yourself in the same position, you keep being in the wilderness, just going, keep repeating that craziness that's in your life. And the reason why is because this doggone unclean spirit comes in to influence and causes you to be able to allow it to open up the doors of these other unclean, for all these other spirits to come. If you are never cleansed from it, you will fall back into it. You are trying to resist that, you're trying to resist those, trying to take it into your own hands without being cleansed. So again, the only way that can be done is be cleansed by God. All right. Unless your mind is purified, we talking about having that renewed mind. Let me see what this says. Oh, okay. It says in my notes, right? Can't even read my own handwriting. It says, unless your mind is purified, it is virtually impossible to think clearly when the unclean spirit is around. I lived with it for a long time, and just to understand how this unclean spirit works. Every time you feel offended or allow someone to make you feel offended, you are or have defiled yourself, okay? Unclean spirits are extremely dangerous because they are the forerunners of everything else that will come. And so I'm going to give y'all some scriptures to go and read up on this on your own, right? You're defiled when you do these things, these unclean things, like hoard things. So if you're a hoarder, so you just keep piling up stuff because you don't want to throw anything away. And it's so funny because when I was sharing this with another friend, she was like, "Oh my God," and they know people like this, just stacks and stacks and stacks of stuff. And that's why I remember my girlfriend was like, clean out your wallet. You know, if you got a whole bunch of receipts, clean out your purse. You know, just guys, get rid of clutter. That's that unclean spirit that keeps you with a dirty house, you know, junky. When you have a dirty body, you know, when you get in this place where you don't want to take a bath. I mean, these are just some of the things they were naming. We got people like that. You see them walking around, always thinking of, you know, those crazy thoughts I was telling you about. If you're always around here, or if you know somebody that's always, you know, thinking of suicide, something, you know, anything around death or murder, when you're talking about sexual immorality, and just when you're doubtful, when you are self-sabotaging, just different things like that. Let me see. You are, look, I'm gonna get to this part right here. Let me see. When you don't like yourself, when you start having this self-pity, or, you know, putting yourself down. I meet a lot of people like that today, grown folk who are really still doing that kind of stuff to themselves because of the fact that the unclean spirit, it you know, they, when they can see that you're an easy target, or you easy breezy, they're gonna stay there. They're gonna hang around until when you start getting a clue, yeah, you're gonna find yourself being attacked. Because when you start trying to, you know, not talk about yourself, when you start loving yourself, when you stop putting yourself down. Oh, look, depression is another thing. When you decide you're not going to be depressed anymore, don't think that that thing is not going to fight you, because you've been a great host. You have been a great host. And so a lot of times when the spirit comes, they don't want to go nowhere. That's what their main, that's what these unclean spirits, all these different spirits, I'm going to talk about others later. You know, when they come around, they are looking for a body. I told y'all, but I think I said this on another live. I said that the only difference between them and us is that we have a body. They looking for one. All right, and they want yours. All right, and so it'll have you thinking craziness about yourself, that you're not gifted, that you're not loved, that you're not wanted, that some people don't like you. You know, others are favored over you. And a lot of this stuff goes back, guys, years and years, because of the fact that we allow the spirit to influence us, right? And we come into agreement with their thoughts, right? And then we just come into agreement with it. And so now that we just spiral out of control, because all we have to do is come into agreement with one thought, and that just brings on another. Y'all know how that snowball effect is. Okay, I'm gonna try to be through in just the next couple of minutes. And so, you know, the one thing that people love to say about married people, the bedroom is undefiled. When I used to hear that, and still today, when I hear that, you know, it used to always just irk my nerves. I'm like, that don't even make sense. If other things, why can't it be? It can be. It can be defiled. I'm like, tell me why. Where the word says the bed is undefiled. Okay, that's dumb. Not the word, but the dumb to say, to think that anything goes. You know, where as long as if both parties come into agreement, but it's okay if you decide that you want to have a threesome, you just defiled your bed. I don't care if both of y'all did come into agreement. It's defiled. Because guess what? After that, somebody is going to want to tip with the other person, you know. And so when you start wondering because you don't know what kind of spirits this person is carrying, what they just brought into your home, what you just allowed in your bedroom, in the intimacy of y'all's relationship, you know. And even when you start bringing craziness to your bedroom, you know, that you are just now, you're not trying to satisfy one another. You're trying to satisfy lust. And so that lust will draw you out for more craziness and more craziness till it takes you outside of your home. All right? And cause you to start doing some more craziness. So I just wanted to just say that, look, stop thinking that the bed is not defiled, as long as you two are staying in that godly space, not causing nobody else to allow you all to defile, you know, to do some craziness that you know that is not godly. All right? Pornography is an unclean spirit. Unclean spirit is around. Even when things that are attacking your body, all types of sicknesses and illnesses, when you're thinking that all the time, every time you turn around, something is going on. You all, they call you guys hypochondriacs, right? And even some of the ones who are literally feeling a sickness, it's because you accepted it. You accepted that thought. You came into agreement with what they offered you. When I say they, meaning that crazy spirit. And so that there will be a dark veil over you. So you have to go and get yourself cleansed. All right. Let's see what you do. You just need an environment that can resist them coming in. You have to create that. And guys, I ain't talking about all these old crazy rituals and burning sage. That smoke ain't gonna do nothing for you. I know a lot of people like, ooh, I need to go get some sage. That's a ritual. That's something you don't know what you are doing when you create these rituals to invite other crazy spirits into your home. You go and you get it's simple. And when just as simple as when Jesus laid hands and and causes a demon to come out of a person, all he did was lay his hand and say, "Come out." All this slapping upside the head, burning sage, throwing people on the floor, burning whatever, and doing drums and creating whatever kind of scenarios that you be creating. It don't take all that. All you got to do is believe and trust the word of God. You do have to be operating in the power of God, and you have to be in right position to be able to do that. So some things that you have to do on the kingdom side. All this other stuff they teaching you on the worldly side, that's that worldly stuff, and it ain't gonna get you nothing but worldly prizes. Like they say, you play stupid games, you gonna get stupid prizes. All right. So so you must resist the unclean spirit, not rebuke and bind them. Um, you need cleansing. The majority of the people uh, in our churches and our besties, whoever you're going to for advice if things are not changing in your life, yeah, you need to seek God. He is the one that can truly cleanse you. I don't know if you want to call it exorcism or whatever, but get delivered, true deliverance through God. All right, and you find that person. You find someone that you know that truly loves God and has the power of laying of hands and healing the sick and all of that. There is a deliverance, a true deliverance ministry. I know you know somebody. And ask your minister, check in with your pastor. All right, and the ministers that are there. So if that's wherever you're serving and you're going to church, so and all that good stuff, I'm not, just follow up with them so you can get some help, so you can get some direction on how to truly get cleansed and delivered. All right, that true deliverance. So, guys, I think that's it. But just know that that unclean spirit is the one that is wreaking havoc over your life. And just knowing it's the one that's opening the doors to all other evil spirits that's coming in and attacking your home, attacking your family, attacking you, until you learn how to fight against it, and that you can't physically fight it, and you have to fight it with your spiritual weapons. And guys, it's the word of God. Y'all already know. Everybody always love to talk about that whole armor of God. You think you're supposed to put it on, and there's nothing else for you to do. You just think, oh God, I got on my whole armor of God. You don't think you have to do no more trusting and believing, and some things will take fasting, and so you find out what that thing is and stop being lazy, stop being doubtful, and thinking that it's just going to go away on its own, and partake in your deliverance, all right, and getting this thing taken care of. So, guys, anyway, until next time. I will check you guys later. All right, hold on. Before so my battery was dying. I didn't want to cut out on me before I said to you, you guys, just know that I love you. I love you with the love of Christ, and it's time for us, His people, the ones that I know that God is speaking to you to speak up. It's time to speak up. Speak up, share things that you do know, share things that God is putting on your heart to share with others, with His people. Because my sister-in-law was like, I know that she has the gift of prophecy, and the gift of discernment and just a lot of things, in that sphere. And she said it feels like it's just getting stronger. I said, yeah, because it's the time is now. The season is here. And when everybody's talking about they feel a shifting, y'all been feeling a shifting for a long time, but that time is really here now. Y'all can see all the things that's happening in the world, and different things like that. So y'all know, y'all see what's happening. And God is speaking to you to speak up and help your sister, your brother in Christ. All right? And do that work of Christ, of building the kingdom, helping us to um, to get it together, get our life together. I'm telling you. And I'm not one to be doing a whole lot of hooping and hollering, but what I'm telling you is serious. It's serious. We got our young folk doing it. Guys, for the ones who have lived through a lot of the things that these young people have not even experienced, but God is showing them things that has been, and I know I can confirm a lot of things that they're saying, and I know they ain't been here long enough to understand and know these things. And then He's showing them things that is to come, and I know that they're telling the truth because God has shown it to me. So there are some things that has been revealed. So I just need for y'all to step up to the plate, and get busy. All right. Know that I love you, and you guys have an amazing night on purpose. And I'll talk to you real, real soon. Bye.